Whether it's a job interview, a relationship that didn't work out, or even a project that may not seem to go well, rejection can be tough. And today in this episode, we shall navigate on how to handle failure and rejection. And today with me, I have Dennis Miano, one of the youth leaders. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante sana.
And maybe you can briefly tell our viewers who Dennis is, a bit of yourself.
Thank you for having me on this podcast. My name, as Kima said, I'm Dennis Miano. I'm a young person, a youth leader, all the way from my high school days to my campus days to my life after campus, as well as a professional in the motor industry. But of course, with a big passion for youth leadership, both in spiritual matters, in the community, and also in professional aspect of life. So, in a nutshell, that's Dennis Miano.
Thank you very much.
It's a big pleasure to be here with you.
Let's start with the basics. Why do you think people find it hard to deal with failure and rejection?
First of all, fear and rejection are not among the best feelings that people have. As you've asked, one of the biggest reasons as to why people find it hard is because in the first place, we don't really admit that it is a challenge that we are going through as people, as young people, whichever stage of life. It's not one of the things that people would admit they are going through it.
Sure.
So from my own opinion would be the lack of admission of it being a challenge, that I am afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, or probably I have been rejected. Look at young people. If someone has been rejected, probably by a potential partner, they wouldn't come clearly to say they rejected. They would find faults. Probably they were not my taste. I didn't even like the height.
Yeah.
We are continually not admitting and living in a shell whereby we want to convince ourselves it's not a challenge we are going through, whereas it's actually an elephant in most people's life. It's a challenge that has prevented most people from advancing in different areas of life. So personally, the biggest reason would be lack of admission that it's actually a challenge that someone is going through. Because again, without admission, you won't be able to get someone to assist you, or probably someone to walk with you until you're able to get to the other side of whatever either fear or rejection.
There's this pressure to always be successful.
Yeah.
How do you think that affects mental health?
Especially in our current age, in the current with the way life is now, with the social media, with the pressure to look like so and so, I've actually seen people going to the extent of posing like you are on a vacation, just to look successful, and then get those comments, and then that pleasure that just ends at that point. So it's actually a challenge because most people have refused to leave their level. Most people have refused the process of growth. Of course, there are those people who are lucky, have been able to be successful probably faster, probably easier. And that's why you'll find people who are successful as young as 20. But the pressure comes whereby we want to compare ourselves without considering that, first of all, our journeys are different. Remember, in life, the person who came before you in a big way determines where you are today and how fast you'll grow. Without realizing that we've all had different journeys, our starting point were different. I think that's where the pressure comes in, because I want to compare myself with you without the understanding that probably while I was a firstborn in my family, the first one to get to campus, probably my dad was doing casual jobs. Your father might have been a professional, probably someone who, an opinion leader in a certain industry. If you look at us, probably we might not get at careers at the same time. We might not land at the same level of careers. Our lives will be different. But the thing is to appreciate our uniqueness, because again, even in my own way, there's something extra that I can do, and there's a level of life whereby we can get a balance. But the pressure comes when we don't appreciate our journeys. And again, when you want to compare yourself with someone without the understanding of where they have come from.
So peer pressure is a major problem.
It's a major problem.
And let's get a little bit personal. Is there any time in your life that you've gone through fear and rejection?
Definitely. And I actually look back and I'm amazed with how when you accept yourself and accept your story, your strength and your weaknesses, how you're able now to come. Of course, you'll never get to a level whereby you fear nothing.
Yeah, true.
Definitely, every day there's something new you face and there's fear. Personally, I think one of my first experiences of, I can call it was a combination of both fear and rejection in my lower primary. I come from a family whereby I had siblings who were behind me who are very sharp in school. But I got to a point whereby I was the last student in my class. Nasile number last year, you're number 20 out of 20. It was number 59 out of 59. Yani, there are just 58 people in front of you who have proved that you know nothing in a class of almost 60 pupils. And of course, during that time, I appreciate what the advancement in the education sector currently, because they're able to look at their pupils in a different way and handle them in their own uniqueness. At that point, no matter who you are, the academic, your performance in the side of academics determined everything, whether you'll make it in life or not. So at that point, of course, everyone in class would be like, this is number last. In Kakamega, I was born and raised in the western side of the country. They used to say, Namba Mushiembe. So everywhere you go, oh, Namba Mushiembe. My relatives at home, like, how this family has good brains, how can you be? So to me, it was one of the first moments in life, and for me it was a big one, because now everywhere people made me feel like I'm dumb. And it was confirmed in school, it was confirmed by my teachers, and also the people who were quite close to me made me feel I was dumb. From that time, the effect that came with this was I got to a point whereby no matter what the teacher would say, like, for example, give us homework, I wouldn't be concerned about completing it on time or doing it, because I had believed
you're a failure.
I'm a failure. I cannot do it in academics. So I would say I've felt the impact of fear. I've felt the impact of rejection. I knew every other day, as people are being punished because of poor performance, I didn't need even to look at my results. I knew by default I'll be in this list. So fear, rejection, I've felt it as early as that point, of course, with many more. Another instance is when I finished my higher education, and then I went into the career industry. If there is a humbling moment, in campus you feel like you are the cream de la cream. You walk with your shoulder high. Immediately after graduation, then life humbles you. You realize that nobody appreciates, nobody recognizes a TCG degree or something like that. So you go to a point whereby tammacking for a whole year is humbling. Knocking doors are being rejected is very humbling. I know it's a cliche about those uncles or friends of your father who tell you, you complete, give me your CV, and you put your faith in them, only to call them frustrations and all those things. So again, at that point, there is also an aspect of rejection, because you wonder, I've done well in my studies, I'm offering something, I'm offering value to this company, but at the end of the day, you are rejected. Some people give up at that point. They give up on career, kabisa, so they go into other things in life, or probably they pursue other aspects of their life, probably hobby and some things like that. So fear and rejection is real. I've faced it. Those are just two examples in the interest of time, but there are many, many more examples.
That must have been tough. And what steps or strategies did you use to overcome the fear and rejection during that time?
In the midst of all those, one thing that I would appreciate is that sometimes sometimes the world sends you someone, just one person who believes in you. And I think the issue of a glass that has water halfway, there's a person who will see it as half empty, there's a person who will see it as half full. How you look at these people is very important. Personally, overcame it by believing in that one person who saw the good in me, who saw the potential in me. I blocked my ears from the hundreds who saw my failures, who saw my weaknesses, and I focused on that one person that believed in me. The best thing with life is that you would never ever find yourself in a place whereby you are facing fear or rejection and you lack even a single person. The majority, of course, will be on the other side, but they will never lack just
that
one person who has faith in you. The best thing is to believe whatever this person is saying, I'll work myself until these things manifest, so that the other people are able to see the value in me, that I'm not useless. There's something good in me. And the good thing about this, as I said, in my education, lower primary, after that, I had one person. Actually, it was just one person who believed in me. And I can tell you, within an year, I had changed my performance from the last 10 to first 10.
Wow.
Because of that one person. And again, the other thing is also looking at yourself and looking, it's also good because we always say that if you do things the same way, you cannot expect different results.
That's right.
In some instances, it takes a step on your own side for you to do things differently. Probably you've been failing because you've been applying one formula to that kind of a problem or that kind of a challenge. It's also good to look things in a different perspective and to apply different strategies for you to be able to overcome these things. Probably you've been going for interviews, your dress code has been messing you up. Sit down, change your dress code. Probably it's how you've done your CV. Look for a CV professional, let them do it for you well. So it's always good not to sit down and say, oh, I've gone for the interview, I've been rejected. It's always good to just get feedback. By the way, what would I have done better for me to be accepted? It helps you to understand areas of improvement in your own life. So again, doing things differently, believing in that one person who has faith in you, and just putting in the work. Because sometimes you look at yourself and you think you've done your best, but if you get someone who has gone ahead of you, they'll be able to guide you for you to understand, I've been struggling, who may just need to tweak something small, and I'm able to be accepted, I'm able to overcome fear.
Wow, I love that.
Yes.
Talking of doing things in a different way, let's try to reform failure and rejection. How do you think people can view failure and rejection as an opportunity for growth?
I'll start by saying, not always does failure say you do not qualify to do this. Sometimes fear can be redirection. Sometimes rejection can be a lesson to you, just to allow you to improve yourself. So one way that we can view, I'll start with rejection. First, you can see rejection as redirection. There are people who reject you not because you are the bad person, but those people have redirected you to the right people.
That's true.
They have redirected you to the right companies. They have redirected you to the right company. So that is one. Second thing, as a lesson. They have said you might go for an interview, you've been rejected, not because they hate you, but because you came dressed in the wrong way. So it's also a learning opportunity. It's good. It's not always good to take rejection like, msichana nichukia, like they don't like me. Sometimes is there anything that I've done on my side that has contributed to what I have what has happened to me. On the side of fear, fear will always be there. The thing is to do whatever you need to do despite the fear. I'll give a personal example. I'm not a good singer, but I never used to sing at all. I remember one day I was just learning how to play drums. So I was in a room of people practicing a choir song. And they were looking for a specific voice. They were trying to match a certain song to sing it as exactly as it was. So they were trying to get a certain voice. And they went from, the choir leader went from the first person to the last person. She couldn't get what she was looking for. So I was just there playing drums. I knew definitely there's no way they can choose me because first of all, I don't even think I can sing. So out of the blue, she just said, can you try? Just try. I tried it and she settled, you are the one who will sing this part. I don't know how to go with the beat. I don't know how to follow the key, but she has settled and it was final. So I had two options. One, I could run away from this challenge. I have never sung. There was a chance I would be ashamed if I would go singing and then I do it wrongly. But in the midst of this fear, I made a decision. If she has seen something good in me, if she believes among the many I can do this voice well, I slept that night with earphones on my ear, listening to that part, repeatedly listening to that part. I think I slept for like 3 hours. The following morning I went and it came, the opportunity came for us to do the song. When it got to my part, I had forgotten the lyrics completely. I had forgotten, but who is God? The lights went off. KPLC wakacheza kama wow. So I just asked my friend quickly, can you remind me how this part was going? In like 2 minutes, the power was back. We started the song again. I did my part. I did it excellently. I don't know how, but from how the people reacted, I knew I did it well. From that day, I got the courage now to stand and sing. The thing is, when I was told to sing, I will sing, I was afraid.
True.
When I was singing, I was still afraid. But despite that, I still went ahead and sang. From that, by now, after singing and I saw that I did it well, I was no longer afraid of doing that. Not that I don't have other things that make me afraid, but I had now overcome the fear of singing. So when it comes to fear, I would tell anyone that there's no instance that in life you'll always be afraid. There are those people we admire who do things like it's so easy, but go and sit down with them. They still feel butterflies. They still feel goosebumps whenever they want to do that thing we think it's so easy. But they have made a decision that I'll do it despite my feeling of fear. So fear is about overcoming it. If you believe this thing is good and it's right for me, do it despite the fear. Go ahead, take that step of faith. And in that step, the first, second step, you realize that you gain strength as you move forward. With our fears, it will never get to a point where by now you see and you feel, I'm now no longer afraid, now I can take the first step. No, you'll only overcome it by taking the first, the second, the third step. One day, whatever you feared will be behind you. The next thing would be ahead of you. And then you gain the art of now overcoming your fears in life.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yes.
You talked of getting concerned. What other methods would you recommend to overcome fear?
Other methods of overcoming fear?
Yeah. You talk of number one, getting concerned. If you've gone to a job interview and they rejected you, you get concerned and know why.
Yes.
That's a practical method. Now, what other practical method would you recommend?
The other practical method, I would apply it in this aspect. Some few years back, I saw a musician who got bullied online, not because he was bad, but because you just have haters who will reject you, not because of you, but because of what they're going through.
That's true.
So after there are areas whereby you'll sit down and see genuinely these people have rejected me because of my own issue. That's where you get concerned but when it comes to the other side whereby you've been rejected, not because of you, but because of the other person, move to the next person who can accept you. Move to the next opportunity where you can be accepted. And I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life is not to take in everything. Because just the other day I was talking to a young person and I was telling them, if you say something to me today, Kim, probably I'm a singer.
Yeah.
And today you come and tell me of how badly I sing and I stop singing. Probably you're a media personality. I'll stop singing because of you. But have you stopped doing your media?
No.
No. So at the end of the day, I use your words to stop my dreams. And yet your life is still moving forward. So I think it's something that people need to learn. Just blocking your ears from people who talk negative, even when you believe in yourself, that you have the capacity to do whatever you think you're supposed to do. It's good to block your ear from people you think they're not talking from a genuine point or from a point of whereby they want you to improve and become better. So don't listen to everyone and don't listen to everything. There'll always be someone who thinks whatever you're doing is not good.
Not true.
There'll always be someone who will not believe in you. There'll always be someone who thinks they can do better, not because they can, but people don't like living in reality. Like just most people don't like dealing with fear and rejection. In some instances, I've actually seen people who are going through things and they get it out by making you feel rejected. So if you allow such people because of what they are going through, then you miss your purpose.
True.
And remember, the problem is not you. The problem is because what this other person is going through as well. So it's good to understand, who do I listen to? Whose words do I take into my heart? That way you'll be able to balance between, you'll be able to differentiate between a person who will make you to improve and a person who you just need to ignore and move forward with your dreams.
Wow, I love that. So guys, meskia, close your ears. Choose who you listen to. We've had Dennis ametuambia that there was one person who noticed him back in primary school, yeah? And
Yes.
you improved from the last 10
Yes.
to top 10.
Yes.
Wow, I love that.
Literally bottom up.
Ile ya kweli sasa.
Kabisa.
And maybe you could share to us, stories of people who have faced fear and rejection and
Yes.
how they overcame it and how it went for them.
There's one story that has been my personal motivation about Jack Ma. I know we all know Jack Ma, the owner of Alibaba. If you follow his story, immediately after he was done with his schooling, he actually did 31 applications. All of them, he was rejected. The most interesting one was when there's a certain multinational food outlet that opened near their place. 24 people applied, 23 people were taken. He was the only one who was not taken. You can imagine that level of rejection. He has tried the army, rejected. A lot of failures in his life. But one thing that inspires me with him is that he knew there is something in him. Probably it did not manifest from the 131 applications. It did not manifest from the 23 people taken and he was rejected and trying the army and all those things. Finally, when the internet was introduced, it was becoming popular, he had an idea which he started because of the belief that he has had in his. But there again, when you face a number of rejections and you're able to overcome, you grow a thick skin to a level whereby if you set your mind on something, no matter what people would say, you still are able to forge forward, which I think is also a good thing. Sometimes these things come for you to develop a thick skin so that when you are doing something that is impactful and you face challenges, you don't give up simply because someone has said. So I find my inspiration from him, because after all that, he has been able to develop a company that is now a multinational. He's among the richest people in China, and I'm looking at the 23 people who are taken. If he had been given the opportunity in that outlet, probably we wouldn't have Alibaba today.
Yeah, sure.
You can imagine the worth of this company. You can imagine the number of people employed who are eating and benefiting from this company. And you can imagine the lives that have been changed. Businesses now, movement of goods here and there. You just go online and you're able to do all that. So I find a lot of inspiration from his story, because it's not the kind whereby he had someone to connect him, he had a wealthy father, he knew someone. You know, there are those guys who, whatever challenge comes, they know a guy, they know someone. He didn't know a guy, but at the end of the day, he has been able to create what he has created. And whenever he stands to talk, he's not those people who are charismatic because of how well they understand English or the language they are talking to, but it is because he talks this story because he has been in every part of the story that he's giving. So whenever he's giving it, there's a lot of genuinity in it, there's a lot of originality in it. He's not just a motivational speaker. He's not a motivational speaker. He just talks about his life, and you find motivation in it. So he's one of the many, many stories of people who have overcome fear. He had a lot of fear, a lot of rejection. We also have Colonel Sanders, who is the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. He started his struggles very young in life, tried a lot of things with a lot of failures. Sometimes that's why we were talking about young people just allowing the process, take time and allow the process to take its course. We admire people who are successful at their 20s, others in their 25, mid-20s, others in their early 30s. He got his breakthrough way upwards his 40s. Of course, he started at his 40s, but before he got his breakthrough, he was almost in his 50s. Today, there's no child, even in our own nation, who doesn't know about KFC. But looking at how it started, looking at the failures he has gone through, it was actually his last resort. Like, I've tried everything else, let me just do what I know. And out of that, something beautiful, something that has been, that has helped a lot of people are now employed under KFC, and many, many other inspiring stories. The last one is a personal friend in back in college. He was pursuing tourism, but he loved emceeing. So, of course, naturally, MCs like to talk much.
Yeah, true.
So I used to see in campus, whenever he got an opportunity, he would try to be funny, but sometimes people don't laugh, sometimes anajionyesha. But despite that, he continued doing what he loved. After campus, of course, a person who has pursued tourism would expect him to go to either hospitality, to be a tour guide, a travel company and such. So he went into washing dishes in a certain hotel. In the midst of doing that, there was an opportunity by one of the biggest media groups in the nation. They do, what do we call it? They do student training. Those people are just fresh from campus. They do a program of about 6 months to 1 year, just for you to train and see if you have skills in that industry. After that, you're released back to the market. But normally, a few get absorbed. So in the midst of that, he tried. One day, someone just threw it to the students, the people who are training. It was just a 5 minutes thing. Who thinks can MC? Like he's trying to give an example. Venye wasa nakuja nakwambia like I have this 1,000. Who wants it? And then the person who goes and takes it. So it was like that. So the guy lifted his hand, tried. Whatever, this thing, he had been rejected for doing it all throughout campus. He tried it, got the chance. Today, this guy is an international MC. He does events in Kenya. He MCs events in Nigeria. He MCs events in Dubai. He's now eating. He's not his professional from his education, but he believed in what he loved. Today, if I mention the name, you'll know him because he's a renowned media personality. But that's a person who he was actually behind me with an ear. But I also find his story quite inspirational. I admire him. Now I look at the people who thought he was overdoing it today, but look at him. Every evening you switch on your TV and you see this face doing what he loves best. And I'm inspired by that.
No, those are very inspiring stories.
Yes.
And maybe as we wrap up, what advice would you give to our listeners?
The advice that I would give is all of us are running different races. And you are the one person who best understands where you want to go. Do not allow anyone to prevent you from pursuing your dreams, whereas they are actually pursuing theirs. Don't allow anything to block you from becoming the person that you believe you're supposed to become. Take failures, take rejection as lessons, as redirection, but not as the end of you not pursuing the things that you really love. That would be my advice to anyone. Believe in yourself. Even in the midst of many people not believing in you, find that one person who gives you a reason to keep on moving. And at the end of the day, you will seek success. Someone said that it's a cliche, but I'll still repeat it. Whatever things you desire, whatever dreams you have, they are always on the other side of fear. If you look at that, then you'll see fear as something to overcome and enjoy the good things that are on the other side.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you.
It was amazing having you here. And to our viewers, thank you for choosing BTL TV to be a channel. And also make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Communicate to us, leave a comment, and tell us what you think. On the next episode, we shall discuss more of dealing with doubt. Until then, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.